enjoy. Actions vote. Alright, good morning. It's a quick one, just to let you know. Hi. Hi. It's me. It's like a dream in here. It's like we're having a dream. It's a dream sesh. Alright, everybody. Today's topic is a very good one. Dear readers and listeners, it starts out. Corporations are more powerful than any king or queen in the world. Corporations can quickly leave a country and set up shop in another country. Bear. Monsanto. Nick, how you doing? Trump 2020, Nick Matt says. You want to vote for Trump? I'll say this for Trump. Trump didn't lie about fake news. So there is something mysterious about Mr. Trump. I mean, if we all had a recording on us 24/7, I guarantee you the things that came out of each of our mouths would be, we would all find. I am not condoning or sticking up for Trump. I feel he is unfit for the presidency. How America ever voted him in, I'll never know. Like, is there 50 million Americans that are unfit to vote? Because you voted for the guy that was on Apprentice, that couldn't even do his lines properly on Apprentice. And it was a rehearsed show. So y'all figured he'd make a good president. 50 million people thought Trump would make a good president. Now, with that being said, I wouldn't want Hillary Clinton as a president either. So, it is really sad that all the presidents are already millionaires. Why America doesn't go after people who are environmentalists, peacekeepers, Nobel Peace Prize winners. Does the States have any?
quickly hire them to be a president, guy or girl, quick. And get the nicest, most soft-spoken American university or college student to be your next president, you know. We're leaving the the job of president for the man or the woman who is oldest. You know, when they're done being president, they'll have a couple years left before they die. So do they really have the earth's interests in mind? Or do they have the interest of setting those up around them for success? In their eyes, it's success. It's monetary growth through any means necessary while president. And the answer is a clear and absolute yes. Poor John F. Kennedy, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, was assassinated. And then the American government decided to cover it up. The American government decided to lock the files in a safe in 1989 or 1990 and never have them released until the people who were involved were all dead. Does that say anything? What have we become that we're more focused on today's sports games than we are the fate of the world? I strongly suggest millions of Americans boycott all sporting events and try to find a way to go shout out the right things that matter. Don't wear a chunk of cheese on your head. Don't get so blind drunk all weekend. This is what they do to the weak, to control you, to make you conform. Antisocial behavior is your mind telling you that the people around you are putty, easily moldable, and very conforming. Their ability to conform is very great. It saddens me to know that America was founded on lies, you know? Maybe not the founding fathers that wrote the Declaration of Independence on a piece of paper. Maybe they had the right idea, but the level to which the laws began to be law number 1, section D, Article 177-324 off of said law basically means you can break that law if you have good reason, you know, if there's a loophole, right? So they're not trying to, when a lawyer stands up, it's how good can he BS to make it look like they solve the problem, when in reality, the judge already knows. Like, the judge has a piece of paper that says guilty or not guilty already. The lawyers have nothing to do with it. And if you don't think that 12 people can be bought off, that none of them knew each other, or, you know, really are allowed to talk about it, you know, that's the setup for disaster. Our justice system doesn't rule blindly. There are many places in the world where you're already guilty the second the government sends the police to your door. You know, you're not guilty yet by any means. There's been no court hearing, but the government has sent police and Secret Service to your door to begin an investigation on you because you are against what they do for a living. Not the police, the government. See, when you become a police officer, you think you're gonna do and uphold the law, but then you realize you're just a bully for governments. And anytime the government wants you out of their hair, they can pin crimes against you. You know, it's hard to do nowadays, but it's not impossible. They first need someone that can understand you, things like that. See, they don't understand exactly what's in this house, and they definitely want to. Meaning, like security recordings, where they are, how they work, if they're accessible after I'm dead. You know, how much routing through my house would they have to do to get all the security recordings? Let me make one thing clear. Security recordings are one thing, but if they use jammers to jam cell phones and jam Wi-Fi signals while I'm live, and I leave notes somewhere, initials, something that designates exactly what tactic and technique they used, so they may be able to jam signals, but they can't jam something that doesn't work off a signal, right? Analog. They're very scared of analog, everybody. Oh, I wish you would understand. It's analog is the way the internet needs to work. We need an analog internet. One that can't be accessed and hacked by thin air. You must have access to basically the power supply that it runs off. So if you have a solar power supply that doesn't run off anything that's communicatable, RF, radio frequency, you're ahead of the game. It's called a decentralized internet. An internet that doesn't run off of having everything linked and connected to it. Launch codes, you know, all of your financials. Right now, there's several banks in Canada that broke the law on several huge fronts. You know, Securities Commissions of Canada isn't even a thing. Nobody is governing banks in Canada. When you have a problem with a bank in Canada, there's no one to help you. So as I document this, you know, it's come to my attention that we have to change the way banking systems work. More transparency on a daily basis. We're going to have accountants for every bank in Canada because the banks are funneling money at an incredible rate. Funneling money at an incredible rate. Banks in Canada give out free loans, interest-free, to people who are far past high risk. There's a conservative, he's a gambler from Ontario. He is in debt $500,000. His home is reverse mortgaged for $500,000. He has nothing. And he gambles. So that should be a red flag for any bank. He was able to access $250,000 from the number one bank in Canada. His credit score must be a 0. So they gave money to him. I said gave because he'll probably end up claiming bankruptcy. So we have people in government that have 0 finances, that don't know how to control or run them, that can't even keep a plus, a plus minus that's decent. And they're making like $200,000 a year to sit down for 2 hours a day. They get paid $200,000 a year to sit for 2 hours a day and pretend like they do something. Do you know how frustrating it is, to work for a charity in Canada and make $12 an hour? And you do 10 times more good environmentally charitable work, and you get paid a 20th of what these scum suckers get paid? The charities also make huge money, like massive money. So it's not like they can't pay more, right? The heads of these companies, which I'll be listing, sometime by October, November, I'll list all the companies in Canada that are charitable, that, they're paying their workers pennies while they make a fortune to run nothing, really. They just sit there and do nothing, talk about how wages are going to go up, never do anything. It's disgusting. Talk about bonuses that, 5 people that work for the company for 2 years have never seen one bonus in a month. All insider trading, backdoor dealing. It's all under investigation right now, too. And if these investigations come back empty after 6-8 months, then we know the people that are investigating them are crooked too. So here in Canada, when you have a problem with a corporation, there's a person called the ombudsman, and you have to get a hold of them to lodge a complaint. But here's what you don't know. That ombudsman is basically a lobbyist right out of the gate. They side 9 times out of 10 with the corporation, just even before they get the file. Do you know who has first contact with the ombudsman if you have a problem? The corporation. So the corporation calls, and they have a buddy that goes for lunch with the ombudsman, is friends off work duty, so they can talk at a golf course, stuff like that. Secret talks in a jacuzzi with the 2 dudes just licking each other. And, this happens all the time. So this isn't transparency, right? I want an ombudsman that is antisocial. I want an ombudsman that's been, aggressively cheated of millions by corporations, I want an ombudsman that is for the people, exactly what the job is for, is to side with is to listen to the people, not ever make contact with the corporation, just hear the complaint coming in from the person. But the ombudsman has best friends at the corporation, at the banking level. And this is a serious, not allegation, it's a fact. Secret Service has looked into these people in the past and found ombudsmen do not and have never really been transparent with Canadians, with what they do after work, or who they hang out with, or who these people are connected to. Just because you go to a party, right? Of course, the ombudsman isn't getting a call from the owner of DuPont. He's meeting them at a club, you know? They're sitting all at a table. Oh, I didn't know you were going to be here. Oh, hey, this is Jack from HR of Amazon, and here's Bill from Google, you know? You get these 6 goobers around the table, and then when they go back to their work jobs on Monday morning, they just have a confidential business meeting. Or they go sit with their top bosses in a park and have a coffee. Or they go lick each other at the jacuzzi again on Monday morning. You pick. There's no transparency. Backdoor dealings are huge, huge, huge money. There's companies here in Canada. Here in Winnipeg, there's our old mayor was under investigation for houses in Arizona, properties in Arizona. Only 4 years ago, our old mayor, most dirty and corrupt mayor, and since the very first mayor, I would say. Did you all know that Winnipeg's first ever mayor was kicked out of Ontario for being, well, he was a criminal. He was caught, he was found guilty. He was a mayor in some small town in Ontario or something, and he was kicked out of Ontario. And he came to Winnipeg, and they made him mayor of Winnipeg with his track record of just getting kicked out for corruption. You should see the trickery and the evil that exists in my province. It's never ending. That's why when I came on YouTube, I was like, oh, you guys are simple. You know, you're peons. Any trolls that come on into the chat, it's like, pfft, you know, I deal with corrupt mayors. I don't deal with, you're not, like, if a corrupt troll comes into the chat, you know, it's like chatting with a kid in grade 3 that just stole a sucker and he thinks he's a badass. Like, oh yeah, you're a chump. You're a chump, bud. Enjoy your sucker, kid. You're 55 years old, you know? So you get the oldest people in the world stealing out of the pockets of those who work the hardest. You get the oldest people in the world creating laws to allow deforestation and animal abuse, child abuse. Did you know in England they're trying to lower the law of consent? For like 10 years, England has been trying to lower the age of consent, which means that, for all you trolls out there that don't understand, they want to lower the age that a child can say yes to sex. So not that long ago, Canada had a disgusting age of consent law, and we are run by the British, so you can guess that a lot of British old men love to come to Canada. Same with old women. I mean, old bags and old creepy dudes are all the same. Wherever you live in the world, you're just as creepy as the next country over with an old man or woman in it. Your minds are sick, you know? Imagine having to make out with or kiss or do things with an old person, you know? Well, they force their way on a lot of young people every day. And the laws that are supposed to protect you aren't governing you, you know? Look at the people, you know, they're stealing from education, you know? They got
6 days in jail. Felicity Huffman. You know, if I was to bribe someone here in Winnipeg at a university, I would get years in prison. But Felicity Huffman was able to mastermind a scheme of, who knows how many actors' kids, and she got 6 days in jail. Like, this is ridiculous what our world has come to. Holly Weird is just that. In California, there's a blood bank called Ambrosia, which says they have triggered some sort of reverse aging process. You can look up young blood and reversing aging process. How would scientists and researchers know that humans can reverse the aging process with children's blood? How would science know that? Unless they've been studying children for decades. But again, go hang out and watch the sports game today and tomorrow, because that's what really matters. Just about done the dishes here. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. I know some of you have tiny brains, small minds, and just nothing going on good in your life, so it's hard for you to focus for more than 10 seconds. I, on the other hand, will never give up, and one day these videos will be seen as a thing of beauty, not by these people who pretend to be my friend in the chat, but by those who honor my good memory by sharing and caring, by putting comments in the chat that are inspiring. I notice they don't come from people that have watched me for years. It's always new people. New people always say, hey, just found your channel. I've been watching for the last 2 months and I haven't stopped. Comments like that blow my mind. Then people add me and they're like, where do I send you stuff? In the mail. And I'm like, well, it's my about section. I'm chatting with them on IG and just, it's interesting, It's really night and day compared to some of you that you take me for granted, You come in, you don't hit the like, you don't share my videos. That's taking me for granted. It's all good. I respect all of you less for that, right? When I don't see your name on my live stream, when I go back and do my 5-minute edit on a video, or scan through the live chats to see if there's anything I don't really care for. Do you think I'm stupid? I know who tunes in daily, obviously. I know that all my trolls that are shitty growers on YouTube, that y'all have YouTube channels, are you guys, right? The ones that can't grow, and you're just like, my plants are really bad. Hashi won't give me an update on what he's doing lately. Can you imagine if you were able to show me your grow right now? I'd be like, oh, you just need to do this. Stop what you're doing, because it's never going to get you yield, and do my way right now, because all I've ever known is yield. I'm a boss for a reason, eh? And I learned something. I learned never to help those who are greedy and do not assist myself. From a young age, I've done everything I've done by myself, or I was told to do it. There's been times in my life where it's like,
if I wanted to hang out with someone when I was young and they were twice my age, I had to haul bales for them, I had to haul, wheelbarrows or whatever. And I had to haul, 150 gallons of water through a bush. That's a real deal. That's not, that's not little pussy shit. I'd like to see a couple of you in the chat just carry 10 buckets through the bush. That's a third of what I had to do when I was a kid. Probably even, almost 25% of what I had to do when I was a kid. Y'all couldn't keep up. I used to walk for hours to get out of the bush, to get back to my bathtub. And those are the memories that I have that made me who I am today, right? All of you said, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. I did that. I mean, no, I guess I never said yes. I was always, I've always been different in the way that my outlook. My outlook has always been very different. I saw a bigger picture than a 2-month bigger picture. You might be holding your paycheck for the week or the 2 weeks. I envisioned, 10, 20 years later, if I properly held on to that, and I knew that I would have to. I've never, ever had an easy time with finances. Never. I've never had an easy go. There's a lot of people in this world that don't value good people. But I do. I give shout outs and kudos to those who are professional, courteous, Alright, I'm just going to wash up these pots and pans. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. Much love, much respect. I don't know who Adam Schiff is, but your votes are obviously worth nothing. I wonder why you don't show your face though. You're a biggest troll on YouTube. That there's a guy in here named Joe. He's holding a cigarette in his mouth. Huge troll in the chat right now. I see you, bud. Go smoke your cigarettes, bud. One of the biggest losers on YouTube. See you later, Joe.